Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. It is the 22nd of February, a Tuesday. The market has opened up after the weekend, the long weekend, and everyone is keen to see what's going to happen. And today I'm thinking that let's look at some encouraging CRISPR news to boost up our morale and motivation. And then let's look at the mess that is the market. We'll start off with the VXN and the Nasdaq index, and then we'll move on to look at doing some kind of technical analysis on our stocks. And I also would like to share some information about my own portfolio and my own plans in the hope that it would be of some interest to you. And you may probably be able to give some feedback or maybe take some pointers from there. So that's what we have in store for today's video. Let's get started. The first CRISPR news I'm excited about, I've mentioned this before. It was a different article which just said that they are able to start working on ticks. So this article says that we can now use CRISPR to fight tick-borne diseases. So for those who are not in North America and may not be aware, ticks carry a disease called as Lyme disease. And that Lyme disease comes from a tick bite to the human. And Lyme disease is almost uncurable. So it makes the quality of life of the individual really, really miserable. So there are some great singers like Avril Lavigne and Justin Bieber who have Lyme's disease. And initially, Avril didn't know that she had Lyme's disease, and she was freaked out with her health problems until it was diagnosed. So it's a bad disease. And the fact that we can now do some kind of CRISPR editing and try to prevent ticks from carrying the Lyme disease is a very big positive. And now I would also like to contrast how this is going to change the medical world. Right now for my dogs, we give them anti-tick medicine every spring, right up to the beginning of winter, and sometimes in the initial months of winter if the temperature is not below -3 or something, because ticks can still survive and latch on to dogs. So those medicines like Bravecto, Revolution, and there are a few of them. They have a good market with the vets around the beginning of spring all the way up to the beginning of winter. So that market is going to get stifled if we succeed in making sure using CRISPR that ticks cannot transmit Lyme disease. So this is another example of how CRISPR is going to make a big deal of change to the established world of medicine the way we see it today. Another good thing is also that I won't have to feed my dogs a concoction of molecules on an ongoing basis, despite the fact that they are healthy. So that makes me feel much better. The next article I have is also in a similar vein, as you will see. This next article, which talks about CRISPR poised to improve cattle production in tropics by reducing disease and boosting climate resilience. This again is a very welcome development. Consider all the antibiotics that are being pumped into our cattle. In fact, many of that comes to us through the milk, and it's providing bacteria with kind of resistance against antibiotics because antibiotics is being abused. So when we use abundance of antibiotics on a sample population, and the bacteria which survive those antibiotics develop to be antibiotic resistant, and when they multiply, it causes a next level of escalation in our drug war. But if we were to be able to use CRISPR to improve the resilience of cattle against the diseases, we have to give them very less or almost no antibiotics. And the result is that the antibiotics industry, the way it is right now, it's going to lose a whole lot of business. The second thing that's going to happen is the milk and dairy products that we consume is going to have very less of antibiotic residue in it and almost negligible as the time goes by. And the new generation of cattle that will be bred for the purpose of agriculture is going to be devoid of antibiotics, and it will be much more healthy in a natural way. So in a way, we are going towards being more natural by playing around with CRISPR. So these are the points that I wanted to make. And I'm personally, as a CRISPR investor, I'm really heartened by all the revolutionary changes that CRISPR can bring. And I think that is the next industrial revolution. And I'll have some points to make about this when I go and talk about my portfolio and my plans. So please hold that thought. And now let us get started looking at the markets. Okay, so here's our market today. And if you look at the VXN here, each of these candle is a one-day candle. And today's candle is this green one, which has a wick that just pierced the upper red line that I had put for resistance, and then it has come down. So right now it's at 33.48, and at one point of time it was as high as 34.80. So that's the amount of volatility that's there in the market right now. There are lots of support levels for it before it can reach our horizontal support of 31.07, which is this green line here. So it's not looking great, and the reason it's not looking great is because of the stacking up of a whole lot of risks, and one of them is predominantly at play right now in terms of the Ukraine-Russia conflict, with the recognition of the Russian majority region. I think it was Donetsk and another place. Yeah, it's almost like some quarters call that to be an invasion, and the other quarters are saying it's not an invasion, it's just something else. So anyway, all said and done, the market is really spooked because of that. So that's the reason why the VXN is going up. And I was initially thinking about going through earnings results and talking about them, but I think it will be a waste of time. And the reason why is because I saw the Home Depot result. They gave a good result. And the great result was based on the COVID situation, where people were spending more time at home. Therefore, they did a lot of renovation. Home Depot operates in US as well as Canada. And in Canada, the situation was the houses were very expensive, so people were afraid to sell and move. So many people did a lot of renovation projects and creating extra apartments in their house for rental and all that stuff. So Home Depot had a blockbuster sale. And based on that, they said that the future going forward, when COVID unwinds, is going to be less number of sales. So they projected single-digit forecast for earnings going forward. And the market dropped Home Depot significantly. So given that, whatever news comes in, the market is just going to find a reason not to like it. And it's going to continue going downwards, as you can see in the charts here. So let's go into Nasdaq. Nasdaq is down 0.1%. And if we look at this this line here, I'm going to draw a line here. If you look at these two lines, so I already had the line there. So we have this support line here at 13,333. That's going to be a major test, in my opinion. If we fall below this, then we are going to fall another 300 points, and that's going to be the support at 13,031, which is this green line here. And this fall below 13,333 could happen today before market close because our MACD has turned bearish, our momentum has dropped and become flat, and there is no signs of any risks coming down. And the big debate right now is whether to put all the sanctions on Russia right now or wait for later and sanction later. So those kind of things are happening. And on the sidelines, as Germany puts a stop to Nord Stream 2 pipeline review process, that kind of gives a signal to Russia that their gas exports might get stifled, and that's a source of income for Russia. So we need to wait and watch what is happening, but at this point of time, no one knows what's going to happen. And when no one knows what's going to happen, fear and panic takes center stage, and things start to fall. The prices start to fall. So that's where we are here with this. Now let's go and have a quick look at Home Depot. I'm just going to add Home Depot here. If you look at the Home Depot stock here, it has dropped almost 24 to 25 points. And that's a very, very big drop for Home Depot, which was at one point of time at around 419. It's now at 321. So that's a huge drop. And they did not report very bad results as such. Their results were pretty good. So if you look at the results out here, Home Depot posts higher fiscal fourth quarter results, expects inflation, supply chain issues to influence 2022 guidance. So that is normal, especially for Home Depot, as contrasted to other companies, because Home Depot had great sales due to COVID, and people are renovating, as I mentioned earlier. So this is the drop that we have seen here. So anyway, let us go on away from here and let us look at our biotech shares. sort them as usual. It's very heartening to see Allogene, Verve, ILMN, tdoc, Blue, Vertex, Edit, and Beam all looking positive. But I'm afraid that this may probably not last until market close. There are bigger companies with revenue streams which have gone negative on a big time basis, just like as we saw Home Depot. So these are all transitory. So if there's a profitable position, I would definitely take money out. I'm still waiting for the market to get positive so that I can exit ARCG. But I'm still negative 10% on ARCG. So I'm not doing anything out there. I'm not buying anything right now. So I don't think it's going to make any sense going through a technical analysis for this, because I can assure you all of them are going to be read by evening. And so what I would like to do instead is I would like to talk to you about my own portfolio, what I have got and what my plans are. And I would like you guys to give me a feedback, what you think. And also let me know if you found anything useful from this disclosure. So if I was to look at my portfolio, a good portion of my portfolio has got Apple, it has got Microsoft, it has got Amazon. I have a very, very small holding of Shopify, just 2 shares to be precise. And then if I was to look at non-core technology, I have a decent holding of Marathon Digital, which which mines Bitcoins and which has got a holding of Bitcoin. I used to have Palantir, but I exited it almost a month or a month and a half ago. I have, apart from this, let's go to non-technology core. I have QYLD out here. I have a small holding of QYLD, around 200 shares of QYLD. And then if I was to go into automobile, here I have a very solid holding of Tesla. So I have a solid holding of Tesla, which has dropped again $23 today. So that's huge. And it's around 2% down, 2.5% down today. And it has come from the peaks of being close to 1,236 or 1,250, which it touched at one point of time. So it's come down big time. And I'm not selling any of them because, first of all, it's a proven technology. It's a market leader in EVs. It has increased its production capacity. It's outperformed in each of its earnings call. And it's got a great CEO who is doing a good job and is a visionary. So everything is looking good, in my opinion, for Tesla. And I'm going to capitalize on this fall. So am I going to buy today? No, not at all, because I see global risks accelerating and starting to materialize one after the other. The first one is the Russia-Ukraine thing, which I want to wait and see what happens. And any increase in gas prices is a positive for Tesla, because as people fill up gas in the gas station, they are going to look at the alternative of going in for EVs. I personally had booked a Tesla earlier when it was available, but then I backed off because Tesla kind of did a clickbait or you can say switch bait or something like that, because they did not produce the initial economy Tesla which I was looking for. They kept on delaying it, and what they bought on the market was high capacity battery cars, which is ideal for Canada, but it was too expensive. And by the time they started releasing it for Canada, our Canadian government had rolled off the EV incentives. So my entire business plan for buying a Tesla went off the window. So I did not buy Tesla. Another problem for us in Canada is that the cold weather is extremely negative for batteries. So I wanted to see a certain amount of battery performance, and right now I think it is there, and I'm willing to jump into it. So I'll wait and see. As such, my outlook on Tesla's market is absolutely fantastic. When I look at the competition like GM, Ford and all, they have got legacy. They have got a lot of people on their pension rolls who have been paid really good salaries that they have to continue to service. They got almost 95% of their income coming from traditional ICE engines. ICE stands for internal combustion engines. So they have to retool their workshops, and they have to get rid of all those assets which are going to have less and less demand as everything shifts to EV. The things that they can leverage upon is the molding machines and all, which creates the chassis and all that stuff. But even there, Tesla has done a lot of innovation, and they're integrating the battery into the chassis, so they're ahead of the curve. And with 5% of revenue coming for these traditional automakers from EVs, they have a steep curve to surmount in order to reach where Tesla is. So I think Tesla is going to be the industry leader. So I'm definitely looking to buy Tesla stock. This is my plan number one. And you'll ask, Raj, what happens to CRISPR? Of course, CRISPR is again a part of the frontier of investment, in my opinion, where we have electric vehicles, you have got AI, you have got genomics, you have got robotics, all of these things. And Tesla is a big player in the robotics field and also in electric vehicles, battery technology, solar, name it. Tesla is all there. So I'm all in for Tesla. Next, I would look at putting some more money into Amazon as well as Microsoft because both of them are big players in cloud, and both of them have got a great opportunity share going forward. They are market leaders, and they have survived the migration into cloud. That shows that the management is very agile and is forward-looking and is keeping track of what's happening in the market and making moves accordingly. Also, Microsoft recently bought Activision, which gives it a window into metaverse, and it can again catch opportunity share in the metaverse. So all those things are going in for Amazon and Microsoft. So I'm definitely in for those two. Shopify, I'm not that great about it, but I will continue to dollar cost average if I get the opportunity. If it goes somewhere lesser than this, maybe 20% less than this, then I'll probably buy a few more shares and hold it. So that's my strategy right now. I'm going to hold on to my QILD as well as my ARKG stake and try to dollar cost average going forward when the opportunity comes in. Am I going to buy now? No, at least I don't see myself buying anything for another week. But I'm going to watch closely if the Russia situation kind of unwinds. Then probably I'll like to buy a little bit of Tesla, dollar cost averaging, and maybe a little bit of QILD. So that's what I would do, and I'll continue to wait for CRISPR stocks to go further down, which I think is going to happen. It's not something that you want to hear, but that's where I feel the market is going. And if we were to look at the CRISPR stocks, please do not get disheartened. If we look at the CRISPR stocks here, let me take CRISPR Therapeutics, for example, which is my favorite in this field. And I'm going to look at the long-term view. Let us look at a one-year view of CRISPR Therapeutics. That's what we have here. And I'm going to zoom out to look at its entire lifespan. And we are on a daily candle. So each of these candles are 1 day. And if you look at the situation we were in with CRISPR at 214.46 at one point of time, that was not too long ago. That was January 2021. And then we look at where we came from in 2019 when we were at 38.60 and where we are today at 56.99. So if we look at the fear index of the market and how the market is overall performing, we saw the historic levels for Nasdaq, how low it can fall. We also saw the VXN, how low it can go. So there is still plenty of potential for it to drop down. And when the drop down happens, I don't think Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon are going to fall as steeply as CRISPR stocks would. The reason being that Microsoft, Amazon, and all already have revenue streams. They are a proven commodity. They are providing dividends. The products are well known, well established, and everybody uses them. The cloud subscriptions for Microsoft Office, the cloud subscriptions in Amazon, and all those things, they're all phenomenal. The streaming services there and everything. Whereas in CRISPR, everyone is looking for revenue to start coming in. I'm very bullish on CRISPR, especially because they already have revenue streams coming in. They have the CRISPR IP, and they have got Vertex paying them money, and CTX 100 is almost sickle cell disease therapy is almost close to monetization. Maybe a couple of years down the line, but it's still light at the end of the tunnel. But when you look at many other CRISPR companies, they are not in that situation. They're in a very preliminary stages. Some are in IND enabling status. Some are in the initial clinical research status, bringing a product into IND situation. So those are the situation in which you find many of these CRISPR companies. So they are likely to drop further. And my strategy is that I'm going to ride up on the traditional ones like Tesla, Microsoft, Amazon, when it bounces back. And there's a very good ETF. I think it's FNGU, and that has got a basket of FANG stocks. And that's a very good thing to buy at this point of time when the markets drop down. So I might put some money in there as well. And when they come up, as I look at it, the CRISPR, as I see it, CRISPR is not going to, CRISPR stocks are not going to deliver in the next 2 years at least, because they are going to be in the process of going through clinical trials and then getting into monetization. But by that time, whatever I'm buying at rock bottom now of FNGU or Tesla or Microsoft or Amazon is going to bounce back once these risks starts unwinding. And I would be able to sell them at a profit and reinvest in CRISPR when CRISPR is on its way back up, instead of following it on the way down as catching a falling knife. So that's my strategy. And I would like to really hear from all of you what you think about my strategy, and what would you do to improve it, and what are your strategies and how are you going about it. And if you do agree with me, just let me know that too, because then our interaction will be much more meaningful, given the fact that we can't do much of technical analysis in this really bearish market. This may seem a slightly longish video, but I would like to take you to one of my favorite charts, which is a once in a blue moon opportunity in my opinion. I'm going to show it to you again, whether you like it or not. It's the chart for gold. So as I mentioned earlier, gold is on if I go to the all-time view, gold is having a once in a blue moon situation where it has got a cup and handle pattern, where the handle is really starting to spike up. Each of these candles is a monthly candle, and as you can see, it is spiking up. So when I started talking about it, we were somewhere out here on in the end of December, and since then it has gone up significantly. And my prediction still holds true. We can look at gold at 2,400 to 2,500 in the near future. See that the MACD is turning towards the signal line, and you can also see that the momentum is picking up. So that's all from me today, my friends. And I'm getting more and more comfortable with this video recording thing and with my software. And you can probably see that in my videos as well. And please consider putting a like on the video if you liked it. And if you're here for the first time, please consider subscribing. You'll find only good things out here about CRISPR and the market, and also new investment ideas. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.